This sideline, these hash marks will go down in Ohio State history because of one man. That's Jack Sawyer, the hero of the day in Ohio State's emphatic 28-14 win over Texas here inside Jerry World at the Cotton Bowl. That's the 41-year vet Tim May, but you already know that. I'm Spencer Holbrook. The player celebrations are still going on over here with the parents. There are players all over the field. There's confetti all over the field in the aftermath of 28-14. Tim, a nail-biter. This was not the offensive juggernaut that we've seen from Ohio State for a few weeks now. This was not the onslaught of points. This was a gritty, tough, grinded-out win for the Buckeyes that sends them to Atlanta to play Notre Dame in the national championship game. What are your first thoughts from this semifinal win by the Buckeyes?
The Jack Sawyer forced fumble, pluck out of the air off the bounce, run down the sidelines for 83 yards. I've been covering this team for 41 seasons. Greatest play in a big game moment I have ever covered, have ever seen. And the funny thing was, on November the 30th, his interception right at the goal line where he backed off and plucked that ball out of thin air when Michigan thought it had a touchdown, I thought was one of the greatest moments in Ohio State football history. But when you top it and you get redemption like he did and this team did, let's put it. Ohio State still had the lead at that point, 21-14. All this did was put the light the candle on top of the cake and set it on fire.
Well,
and that's what stood out about it. I mean, once again, the Ohio State defense had a ridiculous goal line stand. That's what this team is known for. I don't think that's a fluke now. It's just guys making plays, not giving up. Like they said, give them an inch to defend, and they defend it. It is not hyperbole to say that is one of the great plays, top 5 plays maybe in Ohio State football history for when it came, the impact it made, and where it's sending this team to a national championship game.
Well, let's set the scene here, Tim, because Ohio State struggles for the entire second half, can't move the ball at all. Texas had all the momentum. This place was kind of rocking. Felt like DKR North a little bit. Texas had a lot of momentum. And then Ohio State went on a 16-play drive that shut this place up, except for this section here. It's probably 35% Ohio State fans in here.
I think it was more than that.
40, 45,
yeah.
Okay. But it was a pro-Texas crowd.
Yeah.
That 16-play drive shut this place up. Ohio State goes up, and you think, okay, Jim Knowles about to earn his $2 million. Instead, Sark earns his $10 million and marches Texas down the field with ease. I mean, it was as easy as can be. They get to the 1-yard line, first and goal after a pair of penalties in the end zone, and you're thinking, okay, like, Ohio State's about to come down to a 2-minute drill where they're going to have to drive down the field and get a field goal to win this game.
Yep.
First and goal, stuffed at the 1.
Yep.
Second and goal, inexplicable pitch play by the Texas offense that put them back 7 yards to the 8-yard line.
Yep.
Third and goal, incompletion. Fourth and goal, Jack Sawyer off the right side, shot out of a cannon. Just one of the most, again, remarkable plays you will ever see. He's making his rounds through this building right now. When I say he's the hero, I've never seen anybody embraced like this by parents, coaches, teammates. Like a Central Ohio native, the storybook writes itself here, folks. You don't have to. You should still go to lettermenrow.com right now, but like no words can do what happened to Jack Sawyer justice. It was as poetic as can be. I can't even.
He's from Pickerington. He's loved Ohio State since he knew what football was. He has risen through the ranks in terms of people almost counting him out a couple of years ago. Is this guy going to be that player that everybody thought he was?
Yeah.
Is he going to be a Bosa? Is he going to be Chase Young? No. He's a different kind of player. He and JT Tuimoloau took a lot of criticism, a couple of years ago and even last year to a certain extent. But I remember walking with each of them individually down this field, leaving this stadium just under a year ago when they lost the Cotton Bowl, 14-3 to Missouri. And even though they had not announced it yet, you could tell they were both coming back.
Yeah.
They were part of the tsunami of over-the-top players who still wanted to play for something to win some hardware here.
Yeah.
And it means so much to Jack Sawyer to make a play like this. Forget about the impact. It's just deep in his gut. No one can ever take this away from him. That's why as he's running down the sideline, you're watching to make sure there are no flags.
Oh, yeah.
And there was some good blocking going on.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to Jack Sawyer's dad a little bit after the game. You know, he's talking about how Jack was looking over at the sideline.
Right.
He's just yelling, "Get in the end zone, Jack."
Right.
I mean,
Quit talking to people.
and again, this isn't the Jack Sawyer report, but he is the hero of the day because this defense back was as against the wall as possible. The 1 yard line, Texas has 4 plays to get in the end zone to tie this game in the fourth quarter. And this defense stood tall. I don't even know if you give Jim Knowles the credit for that. I think you just give the players.
Yeah.
The players made the plays.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Ohio State, that 16-play drive will also go down in history as one of the great drives.
A good game, man.
That drive will go down as one of the great drives in the history of this program. To
Of course.
put them ahead and give Jack the opportunity.
7 minutes, 45 seconds. They 8 from the clock.
And the offensive line just kind of took over there. It wasn't perfect. It never is with this unit. But, man, like,
Yeah.
as Urban Meyer used to say, when I needed your best, you gave me your all.
Yeah.
And
Ohio
that's what
State
this
had
offensive line
Ohio
does,
State
too.
defense had some plays it regrets from this game, but you know what? This was like competition.
Yeah.
These games are always ugly in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
You know, this wasn't the last 2 weeks. You knew they had Oregon's number the first time they played them. They just couldn't put it all together.
Yeah.
You knew Tennessee, when you watched Tennessee, you didn't want to say that maybe just way out loud, but you knew they were better than Tennessee going into that game, and they proved it. This time they had to work for this almost all the way to the finish, and that's what stands out about this team. It's not just a blow you out in the first five minutes of the game and hang on sloopy. Last part of the game, they got it done on both sides of the ball. But that 7-minute, 45-second drive was football at its finest.
Was legit.
Yeah.
And it didn't come against a Tennessee or an Oregon who, for all intents and purposes, didn't have a great defense this year.
Right.
They were good enough, but they weren't great. This Texas defense, I'm serious, is great.
Yes.
They have
It's
pros.
really good.
They have pros at every level. Colin Simmons is a future first-round pick. They've got a couple other defensive ends who are really good. Jahdae Barron is the Thorpe Award winner. Anthony Hill is going to play for a long time in the NFL. This group is legit. Legit enough to take Jeremiah Smith completely out of this game.
Yeah.
1 catch for 3 yards. And Carnell Tate made big plays. G. Scott Jr. had a few catches that I thought were really big on that touchdown drive, fighting to get to 4th and 2 instead of 4th and 7.
Correct.
You know, Emeka Ibuka just keeps being Emeka Ibuka and making plays. Will Howard, as gritty as they come here on that 4th and 2 with the quarterback power, and then he trips and they still get in the end zone. Like, all of these things came together for this team. And like you said, Tim, they've had it easy in the playoff. They really have. They've blown these teams out. They haven't even had to play in the second half. Were they going to be battle tested when it gets to the fourth quarter? You're damn right they were.
Yeah.
I'm
listening to you. I'm just watching all the joy around
It's really cool. As Donovan Jackson said, they said to drop their nuts again, like the Penn State game, and get it done. And they did. And then the defense didn't get it done until they did, and now this team's going to Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
hey, Travion, come here. Come here and say one word to us, man. This is our post-game podcast.
Trey.
When you get outside there on the edge on that screen call, what was your thought?
Just give it everything that I got, man. When I get in the end zone, glory to him.
But is it amazing in that kind of situation that opens up like that to you?
No, it's amazing.
You understand what I'm saying?
Especially in that moment, I think it's like 27 left, 20 seconds left.
Yes.
And so not knowing what to expect, we just go out there and give it everything that I got.
And last thing, how much are you looking forward to this championship game shot against Notre Dame? Is what you guys all came back for to get a shot.
It's going to be a great opportunity, man. We're looking to go there, give it everything we got for the Lord, to honor and glorify him.
And one last thing, I always say that, can you put your finger on what is special about this team most? Is it this? Is it, you understand there's a faith here that's undeniable?
Yes. Man, I think it's what Christ has done, man. What he did for all of us, man. And just, the players on the team, he's opening up our hearts to realize that, and he's turning our hearts towards him, to seek him, to accept him as Lord and Savior, to accept his grace and mercy, to accept what he did on the cross, man.
Yeah.
And, man, he's saving lives. He's transforming lives, and he's not done yet.
Trey, we'll see you in Atlanta.
Yep, see you all.
Thank you, Trey.
That was, if the audio is not great, that's okay because we're on the fly here, but that was Ohio State running back.
Oh, yeah, it'd be great.
That was Ohio State running back Travion Henderson. For the record, Ohio State running backs had 3 touchdowns tonight. Kind of crazy that Carnell Tate dropped the game's opening touchdown. They still scored a touchdown. Kind of crazy that some of the things unfolded the way they did. Texas had 2 wheel route touchdowns. I think on the same play, I'll have to go back and check the tape there, but the Buckeyes couldn't defend a running back.
On the second one, the Ohio State blitzed, and there was nobody there.
Yeah, Ohio State couldn't defend a running back to save their life tonight.
Right.
But you know what, Tim? Like, sometimes you just have to win the game. And this team has now blown teams out and has now grinded out a win. And Notre Dame is going to be a grind. It just is. That's a damn good football team. It's really physical.
Defense.
But
definitely.
It's this night belongs to Ohio State. And then, but I do want to get your first thoughts. Like, we're here on the field. We just watched what Ohio State did. We spent 10 minutes now talking about Jack Sawyer and DeTravian Henderson. Like, the championship game with Notre Dame. Like, what's your thought there?
My first thought is Ohio State will be favored heavily in this game. By heavily, I mean probably up to 9 or 10 points. Notre Dame has some challenges on offense, but their defense is for real. I think this Ohio State offense is built to attack that definite defense. We already know what Notre Dame's about from last year. They played to the last play. That was when you put a national championship berth on the line. You saw the game, the show that Notre Dame and Penn State put on the other night with 2 lesser offenses than these 2, and they actually outscored these 2 teams.
Yeah.
So that's what's on the line, is a fight for the first extended college football playoff championship.
It's going to be absolutely awesome. Lettermen Row will be there every step of the way. We were here tonight in Jerry World. Thanks to Jerry Jones for opening up the place for us. For Jack Sawyer for making this one of the most iconic strips of grass in the history of Ohio State football. A play that
move over a little bit so everybody can see exactly where he ran.
A play that will go down in the history of this program, in the history of this season, and in Jack Sawyer's storybook career. Looks like the final chapter is starting to be written, and boy, is it going to be a special one if Ohio State can go to Atlanta and get the job done. We're not even close to done. Go to lettermenrow.com right now as Tim's getting pulled away to go talk to Dom Taberry.
Well, yeah, but dude, this is one of the great moments in Ohio State football history. I hope everybody knows that.
It is.
They've won 3 college football playoff games in one season. There's only one other team that can claim that crown, and they're playing them on January 20th for the national championship.
One last thing, Tim. I can't do this without saying this. After the Rose Bowl, I thought it was interesting that Ryan Day smiled a little bit, held up the football, then grabbed the trophy. He was, whatever. He was excited about winning the Rose Bowl, but he was on to Texas. And I don't want to startle anybody thinking that Ohio State's going to, sleepwalk into the freaking national championship game. This one meant a lot to Ryan Day.
Of course it
on
did.
The stage, before they handed him that trophy, he's got his hands in the air. He's all over Jack Sawyer, bear hugging him just countless times, and Will Howard celebrating. This was a war between Sark and Ryan Day, between Quinn Ewers and Will Howard, between these 2 great defenses. And Ohio State just came out on top. And I think they're going to celebrate this one. I think they are going to give themselves that 24 hours, but they know the challenge ahead. Ryan Day was extremely emotional during this game. He knew what it was going to take.
Yep.
And this felt like Ryan Day beating Texas, but also getting back at that loss to Georgia, where he gave everything on that sideline, and they came up a field goal short.
Bulletin, ladies and gentlemen, no Southeastern Conference team is left in the running for the 2024-2025 national championship. The last one fell tonight here in their home state, when Ohio State handled Texas.
Yeah, Ryan Day was not going to let this one slip away. You could just tell by the way he was acting on the sideline. After the Travion touchdown, he was finger guns and the whole it was incredible. The way that he was acting. You love to see it, and you better see it in Atlanta. We'll see you in Atlanta, but first we're going to get out of here. We're going to go work over at lettermenrow.com. Tim's going to have a ton of coverage. I guarantee he's going to have a Jack Sawyer story to be told, because boy, is there a story to be told about number 33 in the scarlet and gray. There's Jack Sawyer's parents right there sending us away.
We were just talking about you.
That's our cue. That's Tim May, the 41-year vet. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like the video below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You're not going to want to miss any of the coverage on our way to Atlanta. After Ohio State 28, Texas 14, in one of the great college football playoff games you'll ever watch, and one of the great moments in the history of this storied Ohio State program. Tim's going to be there the whole step of the way. I'll be there every step of the way, and we'll see you guys over at lettermenrow.com in the aftermath of Ohio State 28, Texas 14 here in Jerry World.